Hi, welcome to No Question and Answered. My name is Mandy Hilton Latte, your usual host. And today we bring you BECE Science 2018. And we are going to continue with where we left off. We started looking at the section A of that. We looked at a number of questions. Today we're going to continue from where we left off. Could you imagine getting into the exam room and sitting behind your paper, then you go through your questions and you realize that your mind is blank? Can you imagine how irritating that would be? Isn't it even irritating? You would feel so bad about yourself. You know what? That is what happens when you fail to do the right thing before your exams. Some people do not rest at all. A few days to the exams, they spend those nights sitting behind their papers to cram before the next day's paper. It normally doesn't help. What it does is that you could go blank. The brain could go blank, dead, even when you think nothing would come up. Would you want to go through something like that? I don't think so. So you know what? Let's try as much as we can to rest. Let's have enough rest as we prepare for our exams. We should learn. That is why it is important to plan the way you learn each step of the way. You can learn as much as you can, but try to rest as well, especially on the night before you write the exam. You need to have a sound sleep so you wake up the next morning fresh and ready to write your paper. Let's not be like those whose minds go blank behind their papers. Let's learn, and when we get to the exam hall, confidently we pick our pens and answer our questions. Now we're going to join Mr. Mensah as he gives us our science paper 1, the rest of the questions. Let's go to the classroom, and when we get back, we will talk some more.
Question 7. What is the chemical symbol for silver? The chemical symbol for silver. Silver derives its chemical symbol, just like gold, mercury, lead, and others, from a foreign Latin word. All right, so silver got its chemical symbol from the Latin word argentum. 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 Let's look at the options there. A, Ag. B, Au. C, Si. D, S. Of course, you all agree with me. Argentum. You take the first capital letter and then the next one. So the right option there is A. Now let's see why the right one is A and not the others. Because silver begins with S, somebody will ask, am I lying? Yes. Somebody is wondering, why is it beginning with S? And then they are telling you the chemical symbol is Ag. I have just explained that. It did not derive its chemical symbol from an English word. It's a foreign word, Latin word. That is argentum, so Ag. Now let's look at the other options. Option B is Au, another foreign word, aurum. Aurum. Au. That is gold. Gold. That is the chemical symbol for gold. That is option B. Now look at option C. Si. That is English. Silicon. Atomic number what? 14. Silicon. Gold is atomic number 79. Silver is atomic number 47. Now, the last one, you can see the options D is sulfur. Sulfur is S, atomic number 16. So, the right answer there, coming to the question, is option A, argentum, Ag for silver. Question number 8. The process by which a gas changes to liquid is known as? A gas changes to liquid. Now, A, we have melting. When do we say something is melting? When a solid is what? Changing to liquid. That is why we say there is what? Melting. So A is out. This one, they said what? Gas to what? Liquid. Option B, evaporating. When do we see evaporation? When water is being boiled. It's what? Changing from the liquid to the what? Gaseous state. That is evaporation. So that is also out. Option C, condensation. When is condensation? Or when is it taking place? Condensation is a process whereby liquid water is boiled until it evaporates, like option B, and then this hot vapor is passed through a condenser. This condenser is made of cold water. It is going to what? Cool the vapor and then convert it back to liquid. And that liquid is pure. You can imagine that. You have boiled the water. It has passed through a condenser. It has cooled down. So that means it is divided of what? Any bacteria or any impurity. That's why we call it pure water. The result of what? Condensation is what? A pure water. Now, let's come to option D, boiling. When do we see boiling? When we see water on fire. It boils and it vaporizes. So that is also not the answer. So you all agree with me that from the options, the option C, condensation, is when a vapor is what? Changed towards a liquid. That would be the right answer. Option C, condensation. The next question, question 9. Which of the following substances is acidic? Which of the following is acidic? Means it contains acid. A, wood ash. B, saltpeter. C, bee stings. D, bicarbonate of soda. Now let's take them one by one. A, option A, wood ash. You agree with me that wood ash is not an acid, but it's what? A base. It's an organic base. B, option B, saltpeter is also the same base, salt. So it is forming a base, not acid. Now we look at option C, bee stings. Yes, that is an acid. And then D, we have bicarbonate of soda. The moment you hear soda, what comes into your mind? Something soapy. So it's also another base. So the right option there is what? Option C, bee stings. All right, let's go to the next one. Number 10. The basic unit of life is A, the cell, B, the nucleus, C, the organ, and then D, the tissue. Basic unit of life. You all agree with me is what? The cell. Why is it the cell? Now, option B, nucleus. The nucleus is the life that controls for the life process of the cell. The nucleus is in the cell that controls the life process of the cell. Now let's elaborate a little on the nucleus. The nucleus has a nuclear membrane that protects it in the cell. It also contains nucleoplasm. This nucleoplasm has what we call the chromosomes. What comes into your mind when you hear chromosomes? That contains the genes that detects what? The parental what? Resemblance, the characteristics of every individual or any human or living thing depends on what? The characters that it has got from the genes, from the parents. So your character and your everything that you do, it comes from the genes that you received, the same thing that you inherited from your parents. All as a result of what? The genes. So the gene is what? What determines the characteristics of every living organism. That is coming from the nucleus. Fine. Option C, organ. Remember, organ is a group of what? Tissues. And look at the last option, tissue. A group of cells also gives you the tissue. So, in all, the right answer, the basic unit of life should be what? The cell. Around which all the other three evolves. The basic unit of life is what? The cell. Let's go on. 11. Useful materials in food that provide growth and repair of worn-out tissues are called what? Option A, carbohydrates. B, vitamins. C, proteins. D, fats. Now, option A is a carbohydrate. And just like option D, they give us what? Energy. They provide the body with what? Energy to carry on our activities. Now, option B, on the other hand, also is a vitamin. That's what? It boosts our immune system and protects us against diseases. That gives us protection. Protein, on the other hand, is what we eat, and that builds our protoplasm and repairs our what? Worn out tissues. So the right answer there is what? Option C, protein. I hope you got me. Let's move on. 12. In human reproduction, the sperm fertilizes the female egg to form what? When the sperm fertilizes the female egg, they form what? The zygote. The sperm fertilizes with what? The egg to form the zygote. To form the what? The zygote. Now let's look at the options there. A, the zygote. B, follicle. Now, follicle, where do we see follicle? In the female egg. That we see follicle. Okay. C, ovary. Of course, the ovary is what produces the ovum. That is a female egg. And you can see that right from there. Option D, you have the ovum. So look at it. The ovum comes from the ovary. And then the ovum itself is surrounded by the follicle that you can see there. So the right answer there, the fusion of the male and female gametes, we call it what? Zygote. The right answer is what? Option A, which is zygote. Okay, let's go on. A solid X reacted with a liquid Y to form a salt and water only. A portion of liquid Y turned blue litmus paper red. That means that what? The Y you are seeing is what? An acid. This is an acid that will turn blue litmus paper red. On the other hand, the same acid will also turn red litmus paper blue. So note that one. We'll be coming to that. Now, a portion of liquid Y turned blue litmus paper red. Solid X did not dissolve when a portion of it was placed in water and stirred. Why? Because it is a base. X is what? A base. Remember, the base and then the acid is what reacted to give you the salt and the water only you are seeing in the question. So if one is acid, it means the other one is what? A base. I hope you get it. Right. So let's move on. Solid X could be said to be, that is number 13. Solid X could be said to be what? You agree with me is what? A base. The options there. A, an acid. B, an alkali. C, a base. D, a salt. Because the right answer is what? C, a base. Let's move on. Now, liquid Y is A, an acid. B, an alkali. C, a base, D, a metal. Of course, it is A, an acid. This two is what reacted to give you the salt and then the water only. Okay, let's move on. 15. A red litmus paper is placed in liquid Y. The color of the paper will be what? Liquid Y, you agree with me, is what? Is it an acid or a base? It's an acid. So if a red litmus paper is placed in an acid, what does it tend to? It tends to what? In an acid. So A, retain the same. B, change to blue. C, change to purple. D, become brighter. Of course, the right answer there is option A, remains the same. Right. Question 16. The type of soil which becomes waterlogged after rainfall is made up of a large amount of what? Here we are talking of soils that retains water. That what will be able to hold water. That's why we have waterlogged places. And of course, you know the types of soils, and you know their soil structures, and you know their textures. You know their porosity and then permeability. If you don't, then let's quickly go through them. Now we have A, silt. B, sand. C, gravel. D, clay. Now looking at silt. Silt has to do like what? In between the gravel and then the what? The clay. In between gravel and then clay. Okay, we have sand. Sand has that property of water draining through it what? Easily, because it has large air spaces between them. It has large particles, and we have more air spaces in sand, and therefore it's not able to retain water. Gravel, on the other hand, has some amount of what? Clay. So it's able to retain water, but not like what? Clay. Clay is what is known to retain more water than all the other soils. So when we want to find a waterlogged place, that is where you go, a clay area. You will definitely see waterlogged places. Okay, so the right answer there is option D, that is clay. Right. Question 17. Ringworm is a disease which attacks the A, skin, B, lungs, C, liver, D, kidney. Of course, the ringworms attacks your skin and not your lungs, your liver, or your kidney. Ringworm attacks your skin. All right. Let's move on. 18. The most appropriate practice to adapt when growing vegetables in the dry season is by doing what? You are in the dry season and you want to grow vegetables. You agree with me that what do? You have to do watering. You have to water it because you are in the dry season. You have to go look for water and come and water it. Other than that, they will all what? Die. So let's look at the options there. A, watering. B, transplanting. C, pest control. D, fertilizer application. Of course, the answer there should be what? A, watering. Transplanting, that is B. You still need water. Before you do what? You can transplant for the plant to what? Or the vegetable to grow. Now, when you do pest control and the plant is still dying, what use is it? It's of no use. You go to D, fertilizer application. Without water, the plant will still die. So the right answer there should be what? Option A, watering. Okay. Following organisms improves soil fertility. Which of them? A, caterpillar. B, millipede. C, nematodes. D, rats. Now look at the first option, caterpillar. Caterpillar lives on what? The leaves, not in the soil. They are asking of want that to what? Bring about soil fertility, living in the soil, not on a leaf, in the soil. Now, when you look at the options there, option A, caterpillar, and you look at option C, it's a nematode. Rat is also an animal. Nematode is also part of the plants. So all of them, the three, will not help the soil in any way until the tree is cut down and they die and they rot or they decay before they can go and add nutrients. But then, millipede, option B, lives in the soil. So when it dies, it decays and then adds immediately the nutrients to the what? The soil. So the right answer there should be what? Millipede. That is option B. I hope you got me. Let's move on. 20. The introduction of natural enemies to control pests on a field is the introduction of natural enemies. When we say natural enemies, what do we mean? Things that we create naturally in our farms to control pests and diseases. Like what? The scarecrow. That is a traditional way of doing things. To scare the what? Rodents and the pests away. Now, how do we call that? Is it a physical control method A, or B, cultural control method, C, chemical control method, D, biological control method? Of course, the right answer there is what? Option D, biological control method. 21. A body has a density of 30 gram per cm cube and volume of 6 cm cube. Determine the mass of the body. The density of an object. Viewers, this is where you need to be very much versed in your formulas. Remember the last time I told you, formula should always be here, up there. Keep learning those formulas. Keep them in your mind and know how they are derived, why those are their formulas. Learn the formulas and keep them in your mind. And as they are there, quickly, any question set on them, you can just fuse them into them and then on you go. So let's come back. Now, finding the density is what? The mass of the object per the volume of that object. The mass over the what? The volume gives you the density. The mass over the volume gives you the density. Mass over volume. This is a symbol for density. Mass over volume. Now, you've been asked to find the mass. So, with your change of subjects that you know, making mass the subject of this equation, you just cross multiply. So it means mass will give you what? The density times what? The volume. Remember, density has been given to be what? The density is there. It's 30 gram per cm cube. And then the mass volume is also 6 cm cube. So quickly, let's fuse it into the equation. So we are going to have 30 times 6, 180 grams. Remember, cm cube will cancel cm cube. So we are left with what? The grams. And of course, mass is also measured in grams. So the right answer there, let's come back to the options. A, 180 grams. B, 240 grams. C, 5 grams. D, 0.2 grams. So the right answer there is A, 180 grams. Let's move on.
Welcome back. We've gone through some questions, and I guess we can answer all those questions. And you saw the way Mr. Mensah went through each of the questions, taking you through each answer and finally arriving at the correct one. We expect you to do the same thing when you sit behind your papers. So pay attention and keep listening, keep learning, and take all the necessary steps and all the necessary tips so that you can also answer your questions correctly. It's been interesting. It's been exciting here on No Question Unanswered. We haven't left you yet. We would come to your homes next time. So join us the next time we come to your homes on No Question Unanswered. My name is Mandy Hilton Latte. Bye-bye.